Hello, a warm welcome, as always, to the Vanarama National League highlights show. Goals galore in the next half an hour or so, and lots of stories, good and bad, as the National League tends to throw up. But the biggest story of this week, of course, is the confirmed impending takeover at Wrexham of the Hollywood duo Rob McElhenney and, of course, Ryan Reynolds. So, to try and put a little bit of meat on the bones, we sent our reporter Becky Ives to speak to one of the Wrexham directors at the racecourse ground this afternoon to find out what's been going on.
How does something like this happen? Was it a case of you were just sat at home and Ryan Reynolds picked up the phone and said, "Hi Spencer, I want to buy Wrexham"? How did it happen?
I got a call from Chief Executive of Portsmouth Football Club asking if we'd be interested to talk to representatives of somebody famous who wanted to invest in the football club. Took that call, and for the first few weeks we sort of had discussions about the club without knowing who they were. And then we got to non-disclosure, which is a sort of legal state. And once we had that in place, then it was revealed and we met Ryan and Rob.
And did they say why they wanted to invest in Wrexham to you straight away?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons, but short and sweet. They're interested, very strong sports fans, and they're interested in taking a team and a community on a journey. And that's why a club at this level of football, they were really interested in not looking higher, because what they want to do is enjoy the journey. They will inject $2 million into the club in non-redeemable shares on day one when they take over the club. So that will happen. And then beyond that, it's very much the sky's the limit for the club. But of course, the single most difficult thing, and the most difficult thing for any club who competes in the National League, is getting out of the National League.
Well, Rob and Ryan can't be here because there's a small thing of a global pandemic going on, but they have very much been getting involved in the community already, haven't they?
Yeah, so there's a few things that they've done. Within a few hours of the vote being announced, they were talking with sponsors, manager and local authority. But Rob himself made a donation to one of our disabled fans who was GoFunding with Wrexham fans to raise money for a new bath that he desperately needed, and Rob came in overnight and just paid out the whole amount, so kudos to him. And
go on, tell us about the Zoom call that you did have with, was it Ryan on set?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a number of Zoom calls over the last few months, but you know, some really interesting ones. One with Ryan in full costume on set with on set with The Rock. So yeah, really, you know, fun stuff. That, you know, this is a good news story in what's been a terrible year for many people.
So would another remarkable week in the history of Wrexham Football Club end in style? They'd failed to score in their last two home matches, so when Jordan Ponticelli was denied by Aldershot keeper Brad James in a goalless first half, there was plenty of anxiety. But the goal that two Hollywood superstars were craving arrived midway through the second half. Luke Young with the strike to give Wrexham their second league win in 5 days. Torquay's table-topping start to the season faced another test in West Yorkshire against a side who struggle for victories but don't concede too many goals. Torquay, of course, score plenty, and they were ahead when Ben Whitfield's cross was turned in by Asa Hall. It was their 19th of the season. Halifax had drawn 4 of their previous 7 league games, and another point looked on the cards when Jamie Allen kept his cool to make it 1-1. The league leaders had the chance to restore their lead when Tom Bradbury fouled Aaron Nemain. Penalty given despite the protests. Danny Wright already has 6 goals this season, but this time he was way off target. But the miss didn't prove costly as Torquay scored the winner with 7 minutes left. Connor Lemonhay Evans giving his manager plenty to smile about. How long can they keep the unbeaten run going?
Well, you know, as long as we can, and you know, that's what we're trying to do. And you know, they're pleased that they've won, but they're not ecstatic because it wasn't a particularly beautiful game from us.
A midweek draw at Aldershot ended Maidenhead's 5-match winning run, but it did little to halt the momentum of a side who've not tasted defeat in the league since early October. Danilo Orsi's second goal of the season, after some excellent build-up play from Josh Coley, edged them in front against Bromley. And they doubled their lead with a contender for goal of the month. Bromley failed to clear the corner, and after Coley's shot was blocked, Sean Donnellan showed him how it should be done. But Donnellan soon had a rival in that Goal of the Month competition as Rico Hackett-Fairchild let fly from distance. And not to be outdone, in stoppage time, an explosive match was given a final flourish as Bromley's Chris Bush did exactly what he's being urged to do from the touchline.
Do it!
But a way to claim his first goal for more than a year, and it finished 2-2.
3 absolute belters, and we'll come straight back to those because we absolutely must. But let's start with Wrexham. Excellent win. I mean, ticking all the boxes at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. It was an important win as well for Dean. With the momentum of the takeover that's happened, it's now important for the football club to start getting results on the field and start creeping up that table a little bit more. It's a decent goal from Young, the ball that goes across him, and it's a decent strike from distance. He's a good set play taker as well. Clean sheet, which we know Wrexham can do. So it's a massive win.
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunity definitely knocking for them. Torquay also, they started last season well and faded. At the moment, though, they are flying.
Yeah, really impressed with them this season. Gary and Aaron Downs have done an excellent job there. They've got a good nucleus to their team, and Whitfield on one side, Lemonhay Evans is 2 out players that can create something within that final third, and they showed great character. Danny Wright missing the penalty, their heads didn't drop, and they got themselves the winning goal, and that could be a big 3 points for them.
Now, I think Maidenhead and Bromley have had a goal of the season competition in one match this afternoon. 3 absolute screamers. Which is your pick of these?
I mean, they're all decent. I mean, Donnellan's strike here.
Off a clearance as well.
I mean, it's a great technique from him. Strikes through the ball. But I think the one we're going to see now for me.
Fairchild.
I think so. I think he's a player that's gone to Portsmouth and it just hasn't quite worked out for him. But, I mean, that's just unbelievable.
The turn, everything.
He's got all the ability in the world, and I'm good to see him back, you know, in his surroundings where he can feel comfortable. He's got a good manager around him. And Bushy, you know, he's got a left foot on him. He maybe should score more like that because he's got a good left foot on him. But yeah, 3 out of 4. Not bad, is it?
Well, Maidenhead, I think that's 6 unbeaten, 5 wins. But Neil Smith and Bromley, that's an important point probably in the context of
it is.
their season.
I mean, Alan's done an excellent job. The spine of their side's decent. You know, Donnellan, as we mentioned about, Blissett leading the line very well. But yeah, it's just a little bit inconsistent from Bromley at the start. But a point just to get the thing going, and you know, an important point that could be.
Yeah, well, that also would be true of 2 teams in Chesterfield and Notts County who are still trying to adjust to life, obviously, in the National League, having been quite recently Football League clubs. They met this weekend. Goals galore in this one, as well, as Chris Ford explained.
Chesterfield began life after John Pemberton with a derby against Notts County, and it couldn't have been a worse start for caretaker boss John Dungworth. Enzio Baldovine giving the visitors the lead on 21 minutes. The Spyrites are searching for their 8th permanent manager since Paul Cook left in 2015, but showed some fight after going behind. Jonathan Smith levelled things up with his first of the season. Smith had just found his goal-scoring touch, but teammate Tom Denton has been in fine form. He put his head in where it hurts to turn the match around, the 7th of the season for Denton. But the Magpies weren't done. An inspired substitution and a breathless end to the game saw Ruben Rodriguez come off the bench to equalise in the 90th minute. Then deep into added time, Rodriguez's free kick was headed home by Kyle Wotton. When he scores, County win. There was no coming back this time for Chesterfield. Woking knocked 5 past Dover midweek and were clearly still in the mood, taking just 8 minutes to get off the mark against Barnet. Kane Ferdinand making it 3 goals in less than a week. 10 minutes later, it was 2-0. Charlie Cooper's corner headed into his own net by Jerome Bingham-Williams. Cooper then picked up 2 quick yellows and he was off. Despite the man advantage, Barnet conceded again midway through the second half. Max Kretschmer with a sublime finish. And there was more to come as Woking continued to make light of the sending off.
Well, as you can obviously gather, a slight technical difficulty, sadly, from an Alan Dowson Woking's point of view, because as much as we could hear Chris Ford, the game wasn't quite going in terms of our footage of it to plan, but an excellent win for them, and obviously a very important win for Neil Ardley and Notts County against poor old Chesterfield, who just can't seem to catch a break. Obviously decided to part company with John Pemberton this week. Feel for him, but it was coming, I guess, inevitably.
Yeah, I mean, the squad's just not good enough. You have to be an honest assessment of that. They seemed to get a little bit of momentum towards the end of a couple of seasons ago when John Sheridan came in, and then they really faded out towards the start of the season.
Yeah.
And John's come in and the same's happened again. But we saw them against Stockport earlier in the season, and I've seen games from them since. Tom Denton was a player that I think people laughed at when Martin Allen brought him in. He's now the most important player in their side, and that to me shows the lack of quality, that the players that have come in have not improved that squad at all, and the appointment next for me is going to be absolutely critical.
Well, indeed. And Ruben Rodriguez and Kyle Wootton, obviously very important late goals for Neil Ardley, because again, there's a lot of expectation around Notts County, and I think he's done a terrific job, Neil, but they have got an excellent squad. They'll be many people's favourites to win this National League this season, and wins like that today are vitally important.
Yeah, and to me that shows character in the squad, where you look at your leaders, you look at your players when things are not just quite going right for you. We know the balance that they've got in their side. We know Wootton can score goals. It's just trying to find that on a consistent basis. And you're going to have bad runs in the season. Yeah. It's how you come out of them, and that win today could be absolutely massive for them, taking them forward.
We saw most, if not quite all, of that excellent win for Woking. We can also now bring you the goal that we didn't quite see in that roundup from Chris Ford. That's the winner for Altrincham at Boreham Wood. Jamie McDonald's with the goal, and an important one it is for Bill Parkinson's side at obviously a ground that is difficult to pick up points, and Altrincham obviously newly promoted to this level. Is scrappy to say the least, but he will not care a jot, I am sure, because that is an excellent 3 points at a place that's hard to pick up points.
Yeah, I like the job that Phil's done there. I think he's an excellent manager. That I think you look at other clubs that are looking at managers. I think Phil could be somebody that they could go into and look at the philosophy that he's got in where he's taken Altrincham so far. But I've been really impressed with them. They want, again, we talk about Kings Lynn and we talk about Wealdstone, the philosophy that they want to play, and the newly promoted sides are doing fairly well.
They're doing extremely well, absolutely, in a very, very difficult season, obviously, for all concerned. But next is the action from this game that myself and Adam have been at. Wealdstone against Sutton. Two teams going very well in the National League. Goals in this one as well. And action. Back shortly. Welcome back to the Vanarama National League highlight show. And our next stop is here, Grosvenor Vale, home, of course, of Wealdstone, newly promoted to the National League, for the visit of Sutton. Two teams in 4th and 5th coming into this one, and thus you'd gauge going pretty well in the National League so far this season. Watching for us, Kevin Davis and Adam Summerton.
Bugil. That was by Afete, and a free kick here to Sutton United.
Yeah, it's good play from Bugil. It's a great first touch there, just comes away. See there, it's a little shove off the ball from Afete.
Floated in by Beautyman, it was a lovely ball there. And it's John who tries to get to it, and Ajiboy sent it in, it's just kept out. But not at the second attempt. It's Sutton United in front, and it's the birthday boy, 21 today, Isaac Alefe.
Yeah, it's in one of those areas where Beautyman was eyeing up, was he going to shoot, but he puts a lovely little ball in there. And there was Alefe to tuck it home. He was alive and bright. Happy birthday, as you said, Adam. Great start from them.
Alefe. Oh, would you believe it? It's Bugil with the second for Sutton. But spare a thought for the young goalkeeper, Harvey Eistedt. A moment he will wish to forget.
Oh, it's disaster for Wealdstone. You see Eistedt there, he's looking for options and just takes too long. Gets caught, and there was Bugil. It's a lucky ricochet, but give credit to Bugil for closing that down with pace and flies into the top of the goal. Disastrous start for Wealdstone.
Chance to cross. Deep delivery towards that back post, and Lafayette! What a start to the second half for Wealdstone. Just what they needed.
It's a close call there. You see Joe Barden just gets caught out. Parrish heads the ball back into a dangerous area, whether he's going to score or not. Bounces over the top of the unfortunate Goodliff, and there was Lafayette Perfect start for the home side.
Danny Green to take the corner in towards that near post, and Lafayette's there again! 2-2! What a second half this has been for Wealdstone.
Well, again, it's a decent ball in. It's a good finish from Lafayette, just deflecting. I think it would have gone in anyway. Goalkeeper, no chance. Who would have thought this would be the scoreline going in at half-time?
Barden's found Adjibor. Inside he goes, Adjibor. It's a really positive run. He's done brilliantly. And there's his cross, and off the bar it came. And then the shot was by Keeley. And what a let-off that is for Wealdstone.
Yeah, really positive play from Adjibor. Goes past Dan Green, puts a really good ball in. Header off the bar. It's a really good block from Phillips.
Oh, the goalkeeper's been taken by surprise! It's Mendy who's put Wealdstone in front here in the closing stages, and they've turned this game completely on its head.
Well, this goal's come out of nowhere. It's not the cleanest of strike, he just passes it, catches the keeper out. It's another goalkeeping error, could cost Sutton all 3 points.
Watch is being checked, and the goalkeeper, Buzanis, is coming forward. The man who was caught a bit flat-footed for what could be the winner, unless there's some more late drama here. In it goes, and they're struggling to get it clear, and they've equalised! 3-3! It's Eastman who's done it, and surely now Sutton have snatched a point right at the death.
Does that feel like a point gained or points dropped, Matt?
I don't know. Certainly a point gained when you go 3-2 down so late on. A point here before the game would probably been a good point, and one I'll be pleased with because they're a very good side. But to be only 2-0 up at half time and not out of sight, the amount of chances we've had in the first half, it could have been, 4, 5, 6, and it was just really disappointing. It was only 2. They've scored so early in the second half. Got a good reaction from them, and it was a very, very hard-fought second half, and I'm really pleased with the point.
I don't think we could have got any worse in the first half, to be perfectly honest. Probably should have been out of sight, probably 4 or 5, but be fair, the boys, we dug in, we spoke at half-time, some good home truths, and that's what we're about at Wealdstone. It was a free hit essentially the second half, and we should have won, right?
Could you have done much more about the equalising goal right at the death there?
Frustrating, because obviously we have it in our grasp, but I said to you before the game, in the pre-interview before the game, I thought there'd be a lot of goals in the game. They have a go and we have a go, and it was a great game for the neutral.
Yeah, I'm never quite sure about the great game for the neutral, although we are two of those. It was a goal fest. Glut of errors or some great play? Bit of both, maybe?
Yeah, a bit of both. I think if you look at the majority of the goals, you'd maybe thought they haven't really been made to work hard to do that. Goals from a set play, goals from crosses is a frustration for managers and players. But for a neutral, it was a great game of football.
It was. Let's pick through the 6 goals because they're worth another look. Some of them are madcap and a bit Keystone Cops, but
yeah, I thought Sutton started really, really well in this first half. They came out of the blocks. I thought Eastman and Kenny Davis dominated that midfield. I thought Buteman was decent, but early on, you just look at the goals that they were gifted. But we mentioned at half-time the first goal was going to be absolutely crucial. You're talking about Parrish and Lewis playing close to Lafayette, and they did that well there. You've got to use Lafayette to his strengths, his physical attributes within that final third, and he took his goals really well. I'm not too sure what the goalkeeper's doing here. I'm still trying to figure out why he's so far across his goal. But
and Mendy's got a bit of form with those long ranges. It still wasn't done with this last kick of the game equaliser from Eastman.
Yeah, it's a great header across there, and Eastman in the right place at the right time. But you can understand why one manager's got no hair and one manager's going grey.
I was going to say neither will be delighted with a point, will they?
I don't think so. No. I think Matt would be more disappointed with the point.
Even though it took them last kick to equalise.
I think so. I think that the control they had in that first half, I just think that maybe the game should have been done by them.
Yeah, OK, on we go to our last roundup. Now, every week on the highlight show, we tee up Yeovil, looking desperately on the downside for their first win of the season and trying to get that monkey off their back this weekend with the visit of, speaking of monkeys, Hartlepool, who they haven't beaten in their last 8 meetings. Sam Ashew has the story.
Hartlepool's 680-mile round trip to Yeovil is one of the longest in the National League. The away side showed no signs of any achy legs though when just 2 minutes in, Rhys Oates' fine feet gave Luke Molyneux the opportunity to open the scoring. Pool's top scorer Gavan Holohan said his side must show the resilience of Liverpool and Manchester United to bounce back from recent defeats. Clearly his teammates were listening, and when he was fed through, he made no mistake. 2-0. After winning 4 out of their first 5 games, Hartlepool were without one in their last 4. But they looked well on their way to changing that. Defender Tyler Magloire looked more like a crafty number 10 when he touched, turned and tucked away to make it 3. Not a bad way to score your first ever senior goal. Yeovil gave themselves a chance just before half-time when Jimmy Smith slalomed his way past 2 Hartlepool defenders before leaving Joe Quigley to slide home and reduce the deficit to 2. But that's as far as the comeback would go. Hartlepool's long journey home will at least be a good one. Having conceded 46 goals between them already, the 2 worst defences met at the Walk Stadium for the first time in the National League. No real surprise, it was a set piece that opened the scoring then. Rory McCauley's head injury at Barnet clearly causing him no issues here, a goal Terry Butcher himself would have been proud of. Kings Lynn missed a number of opportunities to double their lead in the second, but were given their best chance 5 minutes before full time when Ryan Hansen brought down Cairo Mitchell in the box. Having not been quite fit enough to start the game, second half substitute Adam Marriott stepped up and made no mistake.
Yeah, good win for Kings Lynn, more trouble for Dover and indeed for Yeovil against the Monkey Hangers, obviously, which Hartlepool are known as, hence my reference in the link. But yeah, Darren Saul, it's a head scratcher again. Bad defending, you would say, contributing to a number of those Hartlepool goals.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems the confidence of the squad's really, really low at the moment, and you know, he's had his budget cut, and it's always going to be difficult to rectify what he did last season. It was a magnificent season for the football club, but it was an important win for Hartlepool because they struggled in terms of trying to find goals in that final third. And you know, we saw them last week for one half against Eastleigh, but this was a good away performance from them, and I think for Dave this was a really, really important win. Clinical goals, but the defending you certainly have to look at to be disappointed with, especially this one. I mean, it's just basic defending, ball watching, not marking your men in the middle, and you know, Darren and Terry Skiverton, I know Terry is my former manager down there. I do hope they can turn things around down there, because it's a good club.
It is desperate for that first win, and as we said, to get the proverbial off their back. Right, so to the National League table. Obviously relatively early days still, and as you'll see, teams have played quite strongly different numbers of games, but you can't do an awful lot better than Torquay at the top. From the bottom up though, Yeovil, Dover and Chesterfield make up the bottom 3. Remember, this season it will be 3 that go down because of Macclesfield's early demise. And at the top, as I mentioned, Torquay now 5 clear, but they have played certainly a number of games more than some of the teams behind them. Hartlepool's win takes them into the top 7 playoff places as things stand, but there are teams obviously with games to catch up, COVID and FA Cup commitments permitting. Speaking of which, FA Cup for us next weekend. Number of ties available across the networks. Peterborough Chorley on Saturday tea time on 2. And we follow that with Marine in Liverpool against Havant Waterlooville. That's on Sunday afternoon. And then Monday evening, it's Canvey Island against Boreham Wood from 7, including the draw for round 3. Thanks, of course, to Mr. Virgo. Nice to get you out. We are back at Weymouth in 2 weeks' time for more National League action. Thank you very much for your company. We'll see you next time.